flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call a regular board meeting minutes to order. Roll call shows everybody is present. We have the October 5th, 2017 regular board meeting minutes. Any questions or corrections? Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Is there any agenda changes? Hearing none, we'll go on to pre-registered citizens.
Stephanie Williamson.
Hello everybody, thank you for giving me a couple minutes here. I'll try to be as quickly as I can. In early August, I had met with Diane to discuss some issues that we've been having and try to work together to resolve parking and garbage issues related to the loose wheel next to the Opera House. Shortly after, I received a letter from Diane regarding new signs and my dumpsters being on the village property and property delineations. I guess there was a Public Works meeting on August 17th, which was held to address, and the issues were addressed there, but I was not made aware of that meeting and being a subject of that meeting and able to discuss my side of the story. Carl McCurry was there, and according to the minutes that I had received, he said that he had a discussion with me in which I became angry, and we had a contact in a meeting. I was angry about what was going on with our parking and garbage issues. I didn't have a meeting with him. I actually was in Diane's office and met with her, and I'm just trying to get something resolved so that it's not costing myself or the village further costs. Previously, people that rent out the Opera House have put their garbage in my dumpsters. They're supposed to be leaving them out the back door. Some do, some don't. It ends up in my dumpsters. I've been told call and we'll send somebody out and have them empty it back out. I'm not going to call on a Saturday night at night, have somebody come out there. I've paid over it in the past years to have that extra empty. And that I'm just asking for something to get resolved about it. With that being said, in the letter that I received, it's now stating that a gross weight truck sign was put up. It was posted at 20,000 pounds. The letter that I received said it was supposed to be 26,000 pounds. That even means that some of the people that rent out the Opera House and have a band come in, their straight truck, that would be overweight to have them come in and empty that truck back there as well. And the fact that it's not even what I received as a certified letter from Diane talking about what that weight was supposed to be. The dumpsters are not on the village property. I had an agreement with Terry after I had addressed it with Carl when we first bought the property to see if we could actually build a fenced-in area and put dumpsters back in there, and I had stated at that time that then people renting the Opera House could use that area, my dumpsters, to dump their garbage, and I would take care of those costs for letting me use the parking spots to do that with. That was a no-go at the time, and it was before this building was built, and that I understood that. So I had an agreement with Terry Dufresne at Mike Murphy Ford that my dumpsters could go on his property, which they are on his property, and get emptied from there, so that I didn't have the smell so close to my property. And that we've done addition, and we've done some construction, redid our deck area, which gave us more parking spots. And so yeah, I can move those dumpsters, I guess, closer in that. But Terry doesn't have a problem with them being over there. Now all of a sudden, you can't bring the garbage trucks. My garbage guys are telling me they're going to get fined for picking them up over there. We need to move them. And what I don't understand is, why then do any of the other back alleys in the village not have those signs along with that area back behind me? Because that's all blacktop too. Back behind Porks, running back by Bethlehem there, running back by the old police station and behind Otter Creek, that's all blacktop there as well. Those trucks come down in there. And why is it different for that area? Why is that such a big thing? and the fact that they're not on village property. They've not been on village property. I have witnesses that can confirm that a village worker actually put garbage, a whole stack of Little Caesars pizza boxes that were sitting outside the Opera House, which they had put properly outside the back door, and put them into my dumpsters. My cooks watched them do that. I'm certainly not going to have Little Caesars pizza boxes. The garbage company confirmed that those pizza boxes were in my dumpster. They didn't come from me. They were sitting outside. I guess I'm just trying to come up with something that is going to be agreeable for both of us, that's not going to cost us any money. I talked with the garbage company. They said they can put locks on my dumpsters, and that would resolve that issue. The other issue is the parking, and that's basically that people are getting double parked in sometimes when there's events at the Opera House. I've had customers come in and complain to me that they're parked in and they can't even leave. Terry's had problems where people have parked in his lot, new cars have been scratched and dented. And that I added a few spaces of parking directly behind my building with my addition and my renovation to the deck area, which you guys approved. Well, actually, I think the zoning board did. I can't remember which board it was, but anyway. All I'm asking is maybe if we put a sign up that would have stated no double parking, or that this area is Mike Murphy Ford's lot. I can put a sign up. Terry would probably put a sign up. He's actually putting a gate up, and that by his lot. I can put a sign up behind my building that says loose wheel parking only, and that. But I think it would have been easily resolved versus painting the lines on the driveway, red lines, that was done by a village worker, not a certified survey worker that actually surveyed the property, and then cut into the blacktop. They cut a square into the blacktop, which is now, with the upcoming winter, that's going to heave. And that's going to cause a problem when plowing or cleaning up that blacktop, and you just damaged the blacktop. So I guess I'm just asking for assistance and trying to come more to a peaceful resolve versus making it look like I have chicken pox with a red painted line. And to be able to get my dumpsters emptied where they've been for the last several years. And why all of a sudden that's becoming an issue. So if you would consider that, I guess or if I need to go to the Public Works Committee meeting, tell me that, I can do that too. But I'd just like to get a more peaceful resolve versus it seems to be very standoffish. Thank you.
Committee reports, library board.
All right. Rachel Honzik submitted her resignation to the library board in early October. The library board held a special meeting to accept her resignation. We're going to be in the process of posting for a new director. We hope to have a new director in place by the new year. Currently, the board is going to continue to monitor the budget closely to prevent any overages until a new director is hired. That's where we're at. Any questions?
Any questions or comments?
That tenure didn't last long.
Exactly 1 year. She's pursuing some other things she wants to do in her
Hey,
life.
I never slight people for doing
Nope.
that.
I think
The
it's,
grass is greener. It's too bad, she was good.
Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, we'll move on. Unfinished business, we have none. New business. O-9-17 ordinance to amend the section 8.08 urban forestry vision corner.
What happened there is a number of years ago I created the urban forestry section the urban forestry section of the ordinance was there, but it was updated to include the boulevard tree program and all that stuff. And I noticed that the measurement I had for the vision corners in the urban forestry section was different from the chapter 17 of the zoning ordinances. So I wanted to bring it in line with the chapter 17 of the zoning, which specifies 35 feet. I was at 25 feet, but I was thinking more towards trees being planted in the boulevard. But there's some issue, or there's a possibility of confusion there if I'm stating 25 on one hand and 35 on the other. So I'm just trying to clean that up. So where they will 35 55 and there used to say 25.
So is this something we vote on tonight, or just like other ordinances is a?
But legally you could. I don't know if we become consistent on a rating before we do so. And sometimes you rate them first so that people can have input to it. I don't know if there's going to be a lot of citizen input on something like this, so I think you could do it tonight.
Then I'll make a motion to approve 0917.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Municipal Court Prosecutor Agreement. Hammett, Dillon, and Oswald LLC.
That should be in your packets. It's an agreement from Amy Menzel, our current prosecuting attorney, so it's continuing the services at the agreed upon rate as before, so it's just a continuation of services for the municipal court prosecutor. So,
Same rate, same mileage,
was it the same rate? I believe so. Then.
125.
Do you recall offhand? I know it's the same mileage, and I know in talking to Norm that he said when verbally she had said it was going to be the same, so I'm pretty sure it is. It's just frankly I don't have the.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay, I didn't have the 2017. The only change to the actual contract is that Lynn had noticed this, that she had the mileage rate at 55 cents and this IRS rate is actually 53 and a half, so we contacted her and she amended it for that.
She sent an email and asked that be considered her agreement to an amendment, so I have that with the contract.
I would move to approve.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Stray Animal Service Contract for 2018. Wolf River Veterinary Clinic.
I'll take this. We got a proposal from Wolf River Vet for the 18 contract, and there were some increases for the daily boarding. It went up from $14 per day for a dog to $18, and then there was increase for a cat per day from $6 to $10. And more specifically in the euthanasia and cremation fee, they went up a significant amount, about $100 for each pet, depending on the weight. So I reached out to them. They said they haven't changed their rate since 2008. And they said it was actually costing them more to do this than what they were charging. So I reached out to the Fox Valley Humane Association and spoke with them, and they sent me over a proposal. And what I saw from them is they charge $111.55 per animal, regardless of the time held by the association. So if you take your pet in and it's there, or we take a pet in and it's there for a day or even a few hours, that $111.55 is applied. So either the pet owner or the village would have to, or the PD would have to pay for that. So to me, it still would make more sense running the numbers to stay with Wolf River. I can tell you that in the last 4 years, we've only had one euthanasia. So they try to do their best to get them adopted out. So there's some increases, but comparing the two, it seems to make more sense sticking with Wolf River based on the use of euthanasia and just our past history with their services over there. So
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Set public hearing date for 2018 budget.
What I would like to have the village board approve would be to set the hearing for December 7th. That would allow us the time to go ahead and get all of the rates into Outagamie County to get the tax bills prepared. Unless you want to set it earlier in November.
That's a normal meeting date.
Yeah.
It's a normal meeting date. The other option would be that give us even more time would be to have it at the second meeting in November, since we've got the budget ready to go.
What would you rather do?
Actually, I'd rather get it done earlier.
I was going to say the same.
Well, I don't think we have, I mean, you guys have knocked it out, I mean, right?
That would be November 16th.
I mean, that's our normal meeting,
Yes,
so I would say, yeah, if that's what you want to do, let's do it now.
because that gives us options in case of.
What happens?
That's what I was thinking too. If they're
that okay with everybody?
Is that just like beforehand, or is that part of the actual village board meeting?
It'd
It'll
be,
be beforehand.
yeah, we can do it beforehand, we have done it both ways.
Okay.
Do you need,
Unless you want to stick around till midnight, Julie.
Well, I just want to know when to put it on my calendar.
It would be cleanest if we had a motion to set the public hearing date for November 16th.
Okay, then I'll make a motion to set the public hearing date for November 16th, 2017.
What time?
It would be dependent on other things that happen with that meeting.
5:30?
Normally, the hearing is extremely short.
Let's do it at 6.
I may be late again. Doesn't matter.
I mean, it's a public hearing, so if you're not here,
Right,
6:30.
It doesn't matter.
Well, I don't mean it like that. Okay, for 6 o'clock.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
We will miss you, Peter, if you're not here.
Well, like you said, it's a public hearing.
Moving on, change Pine Street and Cedar Street utility project to include restoration of complete width of Cedar Street.
All right, I'm gonna pass around a blueprint of what I'm talking about here. The area to the north of the highlighted region on Cedar Street that I'm talking about was milled out, where we put a 12-inch water main that's gonna be in, water main that will lead eventually all the way to the tower with a new 12-inch. And when we milled that out, graded it out there, removed that out there, basically the other side that I'm talking about is like a jigsaw puzzle without anything to hold it together. We didn't realize how bad it was until you took something that was kind of holding it in place away. And at first I had talked to Lynn about maybe the utility paying for just paving that all the way across the street, but Lynn reminded me that that is
No.
it's a no. So
It's not going to be able to stay there, the auditors will move it anyway.
there are other areas, when I'm doing 67% of the road for utilities, that utility will pick up that little bit of stretch, but this is above and beyond what the utility is responsible for. So I'm coming back to you in hopes that you authorize us to go ahead and just pave all the way across there, from shoulder to, or from curb to curb on Cedar.
Where does the money come from?
That's, well, Lynn's gonna get to that.
It has to be done, basically.
Yeah, it would be a shame to finish utilities in there and then have 12 feet of that road nice and new, and then the other 22 feet.
So you're talking about just repaving the whole thing?
Just repave the whole thing.
What's the price difference?
It's $22 a square yard, and there's about 600 square yards, so it's about 13 grand for milling it, shaping it, and paving it. If it was already milled, shaped, then the paving would be a lot less, but they have to mill it out. Because Cedar's getting repaved pretty much from the water tower back down towards Cherry, and it would be nice to have this section done between Pine and Nash, and then it's one of our worst roads in town, but all we really have left is this stretch in front of Sorensen's
There.
and a little bit up on top of the hill. So Lynn had found a funding source possibly.
It's not a funding source as such as everybody would hope for. What I had told Carl was that we have not finished the borrowing for the industrial park paving project either, so that this could be wrapped in with that. It would increase the amount of borrowing that we would be doing. And so the village board needs to approve this ahead of time, knowing that that's where we would be getting the money from.
To not do it, we'd have just a small portion of the road paved and the rest of it would be crap. How long is that going to last?
It's already rated pretty low on the road rating report. It's a constant, we probably put a few $100s in labor patching it every year. So it's pay me now or pay me later type thing.
And our thought too was with all of the equipment and everything being there now, obviously.
You don't have to remove it.
If we come back and just try to pay that 2/3 section later, it's probably it's much cheaper to do it now. Well, you can get a whole stretch.
While you got everybody else getting convenience, and I just do it.
And if we came back later and paved that highlighted section there, then it's gonna look like we scabbed it together at a later date.
Yeah.
It's not too often we get to actually update a complete road here in Hortonville, so it'd be nice if we just do the whole thing. So, again, we're looking at around 13,000. Utility could have paid for it, but we can't, so.
Well, I think it makes more sense to do it.
Oh, absolutely.
I think
If we can
swing
pay
it.
for it, if we can swing it with the loan and it doesn't really kill us with the next levy or...
We did save, it's not on tonight's budget, but we did save about 27 grand in paving out in the industrial park, so. Although the TID's not gonna pay for this either.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that one's with the combination of assessment and TID, so that's not on the village. Front it is.
So just a small portion of the loan will be charged to this.
You can make it work, I would think.
I would just simply work with people when I tell them how much we're looking to borrow, I would change the amount.
Anyways, just my recommendation, it would be nice to do the whole thing. I'm not pressuring you.
Consistent, make every motion tonight and say, I'll make a motion to approve this.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Any other miscellaneous topics for future discussion?
How do we address, what's her name?
Stephanie?
Stephanie. How do we address her concerns? Is that a Public Works?
Well,
I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of it, but...
maybe we
pretty much
should have
addressed it all.
Yeah, we can't really be discussing the,
I'm not suggesting we discuss it.
I know, but maybe should we just have a report for the board regarding the issues? That's probably the easiest way.
Sure.
So then you'll know.
Both sides of the story.
Exactly. I think that would be helpful.
And at the second November meeting, I'm working on scheduling a public hearing for the downtown zoning code. So that'll be as future agenda items, is that public hearing. That's already done through planning and zoning and stuff, it's just I haven't had an opportunity to bring it for public hearing.
Any other topics for future discussion?
We typically have, or we used to in the past, have a Public Works meeting to discuss the utility budget. Do we need to do that at the Public Works level?
If anybody wants to ask questions, unless you want to do it at a committee of the whole, but it should be
I
done
just assume
before.
we're at a committee of the whole.
It'd be...
Nothing much changes from year to year, so.
Everybody's okay with that?
This one.
Okay.
Any other topics? Hearing none, we'll move on to report of village officials, administrator.
Small Business Revolution. This is a fun one. I don't know if some of you may recall, last year I nominated the village for this, and I did so again this year. If some of you have ever seen the TV show Extreme Makeover Home Edition, this is a Netflix TV show, or Netflix show, of, I call it, Extreme Makeover Downtown Edition, where the guy from Shark Tank comes and revitalizes small communities downtown, $500,000, and it includes upgrades and marketing and so forth of 6 businesses.
Which guy?
Robert something?
Robert.
Yeah. Really? Oh, yeah. So I nominated the village this year, and the difference between this year and last year is I've heard back from them. And they asked me to complete some additional questions along with contact information and specific business names and stories about when we overcame adversity and the businesses bonded back, rallied together. And I talked about the 2013 tornado and asked about some community members that give back. I talked to Bob and Ann Schneider. And I also have been working more closely with the entrepreneurship classes in the school, And so the teacher had all her students write an essay nominating the village, and they're hearing back. So, I mean, as wild as this sounds, and it's, 1 in a million chance it's, shot, this is a national thing, but just from the questions that they asked in response, I know that last year 14,000 communities were nominated, and I have a very hard time believing that they are following up on 14,000 communities. So while it says, in the contact that they've had with me that, this is not to say that you're a finalist, but I think we're on a shorter list. So really cool. That was just really cool. Today is actually the last day for the nominations, and each day now the students have been coming in saying, telling the teacher that more and more of them have been contacted. Wow. So just kind of cool, keeping our fingers crossed. That would be just really, really neat. And in the course of doing that and thinking about the downtown, it's something kind of unique about Hortonville kind of came to my mind is that if you think of the different businesses in downtown Hortonville, over 75%, right around there, are women-owned, just women. And that's uncommon. And so I looked up with the state on their report about downtowns, and on average, 25 to 37% of downtown businesses are women-owned. So I made a listing of them along with some of those sites and sent it to Scott Delisle to see if he might do a human interest story. And he said he might. He was interested in it. He doesn't know when, but I'm mentioning this because I thought that would also be kind of cool with this Main Street revolution. That might, if we had an article in the paper about that, that might bump us up a little bit. Who knows?
Is this the same one that Little Chute was part of last year?
No, that's that was a Wisconsin. Was it just Wisconsin? No, it was a national thing. I don't remember what one that was. But this one is actually quite a bit bigger. That was like some kind of an award. This is a we're here to help, and it also includes like marketing assistance and beautification of the community, and then like marketing, accounting, and business assistance for the 6 businesses that they choose to do. So this is kind of a bigger. It's similar. They're both national, but that was more of an award where this is actually we're here to help.
I looked online, there's like, you think you got to midnight tonight to do a nomination.
Yes, it only takes 500 words or less. Yep. It's really easy.
Midnight.
It's Small Business Revolution on their website. So I figured that the more nominations we get might tickle their fancy and get us higher on there.
It'll just benefit the Main Street, or will it benefit the whole town?
They talk about, it's actually downtown is what they call it. So they work in the downtown, they call it Main Street. Actually, it's kind of funny because they asked us what we call our Main Street, and I said Main Street. So it's not necessarily just businesses on that area, and they have done, you can actually watch the programs. There's season 1 and 2 are out there now. This is season 3. And there's, each season is 7, 8 programs. The first one is an intro, and then each of the other 6 are specific to the businesses, and then the last one is where they go into the community and do the beautification stuff of the community as a whole. So it's concentrated in the downtown, but then like the one that I watched, they put up billboards with the community's logo, 100 miles away even, and stuff like that. So it works with the community leaders to also market the community. So physically, it's concentrated in the downtown, but their marketing and some of their other tools that they help the community with benefits the community at large.
Nice.
So it's, like I said, I mean, this is like a lottery thing, but hey, at least we got a ticket and we haven't been eliminated yet. So, and we'll just keep doing it each time. The next one is Highway 15. I've been contacted by Dean Steingraber and the County Highway Commissioner. He has contacted the Secretary of Transportation office, and at this point, they told him that they have not prioritized the projects yet. So we don't know where we stand for Highway 15. So he suggested that we continue putting pressure on and communicating with them. And he said one of the things that he felt we need to address in our communications with, and he suggested we contact the Governor and Secretary of Transportation. But the things that he said that we need to address in there is that The village has gone down on record as saying that they want this access point at County Highway M. And in all of the letters and everything that I have found, yes, we have said that, but we also said, that we want this. It's just that bypass, that we want the bypass. It's just that we prefer to have that access point now rather than later. Well, there's some that are saying Hortonville doesn't want it because they can't have the Highway M access. So, sorry, I keep watching Kelly with his gum watching the ladybug. I gotta look at Bob. So I wanted to reach out to each of the emergency services, so I also wanted to talk to you about that further, Jack, as so that I'm not speaking out of turn or anything when I communicate with the governor, or I contact the governor's office and DOT. That I did contact Gold Cross as well, and then in talking to the police department, is that while ideally all of the emergency services would like to see that access, but that doesn't mean that we don't want it. Instead, that if we can't have it, we don't want it. And that ultimately, even though response time might take a little bit longer, it's still better to have a longer response time to fewer accidents than to have the much more accidents. So as I said, I did reach out to Gold Cross and then our police station department, and I wanted to talk to the fire district to make sure that everybody's okay with me communicating that to them.
Yeah, what we had stated in that meeting that day is we would like to have that access there. That's all we said.
Exactly.
We'd like to have it.
I get the impression our words are being twisted a little bit and used against us. So
yeah, it will expedite our response time, obviously, if there was one there. But
so I'm going to contact DOT and the governor's office and work on that. Dean Steingraber asked that the village, strongly suggested that the village continue to be lead on this because there's a little bit of an issue between the county and governor's office. And just being local, they want it to be a grassroots one. So I'll reach out to DOT and the governor, and I'll work on crafting a letter that says that, well, yes, we've said that. That's because that was our ideal, but by no means do we not want it because of that. So that's where that stands.
Diane, have you heard anything from either Mr. Coles or Mr. Talkin?
Nope, they never got back to me. Never heard anything from them.
Okay.
The only one that I did is when I was making all the calls and emails and stuff contacting people is Steinecke returned my call. And actually I think Dave Murphy, and none of the others. Oh, actually that's right. And Roger Roth, but not ours. Recycling carts, they have all been delivered. We are getting some requests for the smaller ones. There's some people that have issues with the larger ones. At this point, I mean, we started getting these complaints and requests literally immediately while the carts were still being shipped out. So Lynn and I talked, and we instructed staff to just write down the names and numbers, contact information of the people, and that will, once we're in this a little bit, then we'll think about how we want to address each ones, or if. The thing is with the smaller carts is, I don't know where we stand on how many people had contacted in, because we just started having staff track it, and I haven't
We
looked
have
at
about 6 people that have requested smaller carts and 3 people that have requested no carts at all.
So, what I planned on doing is looking around a little bit more to see if there's any other communities that have the smaller ones that do not have the name on it that could be available. My initial looking around is no. I contacted Outagamie County Solid Waste and New London, because I knew New London had the smaller ones, but they have their names on it. Outagamie County told me not to her knowledge, but I figured just, I will certainly reach out to all of our neighboring ones a little bit more, see if anybody has them. But I don't see how it's, I believe it's like 100 or 150 minimum order. And
Wasn't the town of Dale also doing this?
yes.
Yes, theirs got delivered this last weekend.
And what difference does it make if it has a ton of New London on it?
Can we not block their name off?
It's like, it's not just like painted, it's like engraved.
It's
It's certainly a possibility. I mean,
I don't know why it would.
Well, and actually, let's put that on the next agenda, topic item,
Or maybe
topics.
even a sticker that could be taped over, glued over the top of
So
it.
they can be,
Just duct tape.
I'll reach out to new. I know,
No,
I will do it.
I would be prepared.
So you're gonna be, Hazard
I'm sure they have
County.
surplus of them.
Will be Hazard County. I'll reach out to New London, find out more, and then we'll put that on the next board agenda, and I'm sure I'll have some kind of response from him by then, if we can get just a handful.
It's only 10 people.
Yeah.
Let's
Sure.
say,
Okay.
you know, silly to spend that kind of money.
And if
How many
we've got-
large ones do we have
To the
left?
rotor and grind it
We
up.
have about 44
Yeah.
large ones left. We planned for people who are going to be building. Since you do have to place a minimum order for those as well, we wanted to get enough to go some years out. And if the Wild Wind area does develop, they have 30 lots in their first section. And we have some other lots that are already being developed as duplexes and such in the village, so we did not want to run out within the next 2 months. So we're-
What's the minimum order? 150?
I can't remember if it's 100 or
It's
150.
in the neighborhood. I have it written down in my material from the company, but
So where do we store those?
they're down at the plant right now.
Oh my gosh,
Carl's through.
we can't have room down there, can we?
No,
Jeannie, they're
that's
collapsed.
why the CIP has another garage on it.
Yeah.
Just put that out there.
One, but not, yeah.
So, you have 44 left?
No,
That
they're not assembled, right, or are they?
would be a good supply for you.
Yeah, they're just stacked, and then the lids are off to the side and the bars. They still take up this, not as much room, but still.
Enough.
You have to rent one of those new storage sheds.
Then would a new resident be charged for that? Because,
Yes.
yeah.
Anybody who receives a card and starts on the service, and it will be any residential unit.
Not necessarily a new resident, but a new construction.
Construction, that's what I meant, that's what I meant.
Yeah,
Okay, new
or someplace that
construction.
changes from a different zoning to residential and then acquires the card through that, something that's a new residential unit.
Okay.
Right, that's what I was getting at, not necessarily a new resident, but a new residential unit.
Yes, they will be charged.
So is that open to businesses too?
No, when Chris was here from Outagamie County, she stated that their pickup service does not serve businesses. So none of the businesses are supposed to be using the carts.
I was here for that meeting. We got a cart.
You got a
Because
cart
you're
because
residents.
you and Jane live behind your business, your residential unit.
Can they turn it back in?
No, it's yours to use.
See, storage.
If we do that, then we have to start doing that up and down all the streets in the village.
How many other businesses where the owner lives on site have carts? Do you know? Are we the only ones?
Anybody who lives on site, such as New and Who's Chiropractic, Alley Cat, Cell Chiropractic, Family Chiropractors there.
Okay.
There are various other places where the owner does live there.
And they all have carts?
Yes.
Okay. We don't use it because we have a dumpster for recycling. So I think I'll just make it 45. I'll take it back down to Carl. I mean, you can charge for it, I don't care. It's just that
It's going to be on your landlord's property tax bill.
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I said,
It's a one-time shot though, right?
yeah, I'll pay for it. We end up paying for it. But it's just a pain because we have so, I would fill that carton one day with all the milk cartons and everything that we have.
That you personally have, not that the business has.
Well, okay, there we draw the line. Because the dumpster that I have an agreement with the people next door, we use their recycle and we put everything that we have personally and business in there.
Yeah.
So if you're telling me that that card should be used for personal use, it's a pain in the butt to try to separate it, as you can see. So I'm going to bring the cart down to Carl. You can continue to charge for it. Because it would make no
Yes,
sense
it's
for me
just
to
the
use it.
one time.
It really doesn't. It's in storage right now. So now you end up with 45. Okay, Carl?
No refunds.
I don't care.
Next is Hortonville High School DECA collaboration. This is one of the student organizations at the high school related to the business and entrepreneur. I hate that word. Thank you, class. And the student organization is like 90 strong. And they were do different projects, and one of their specialties and part of the class is marketing. So we struck up an agreement that now the village has to completely cut out our marketing budget, so we've got student volunteers so they're gonna, I'm working with them to create some marketing materials for the village. So that will be their student project, and we've been working more closely. I just last week or the week before, I went to their entrepreneurship class to tell them what was all going on in the village and the new development, and actually it was kind of interesting because the next day I had somebody come in and ask for information on 2 of our village-owned lots because her son was in the class and heard about all the cool things going on in the village and that there's a new development coming out here. So I plan on the teacher from that class and I are going to be working more closely together, and I just think it's a good opportunity for obviously community collaboration, but gotta like that free stuff.
Absolutely.
And then that's the only thing I had on there, but I did want to read a quick 2 emails that I received recently. Brian, you're going to turn red here. This is from Todd Tim at the school. We have so much bad news that it's kind of nice to have some kudos and good news. So this is from Todd. He said, "Hello, Diane. I would want, Sergeant Barr is one of my trusted colleagues. I realize my own biases, but the last 2 evenings he responded to emergency calls from school officials at 2 a.m. and 1:50 a.m. to coordinate wellness checks. He always answers. I have a deep appreciation for his work and want you to know as the village administrator how much respect and care I have for him and his profession. I have been in public education for 16 years. I truly believe he is one of the best educators, in parentheses, he's an educator to me, that I have worked with." So thank you, Todd Tim.
Way to go, Sergeant Barr.
And then I just wanted to share another one. This was Andrew Kazuski from the police department, and then Julie and myself had a Cub Scout troop come in. They needed their government badge. They needed to learn about government, specifically about the differences in roles between administrator and staff and board. And so they came in last Thursday, and Julie and I had a little class with them on what government is all about. And actually it was really cute because each of the 11-year-olds sat in each of your seats. And we went around and told them, you're Peter Oak and you run Donaldson's, and we went through and told them who each of them are so that they could understand that this is you guys volunteering to do this, and you all have other jobs, except for you, Al. and the kid ran right towards that and said, "Oh, I know what the answer." And he liked that he was also on the Blackwater Lake District, and your guy really liked that he was on the fire. So anyways, it was really sorry, Bob, nobody was you.
You only sat in that one now.
And you guys, they said, "Well, what did those guys do?" Because they have the bad shares of people.
What I found interesting is we tried to give them a topic of, give us a topic, and the first kid that said it, the kid that sat in the big chair.
An issue. They had to give us an issue so we could explain how it would be addressed.
And this young man has actually gone through the town of Ellington because he'd like to have chickens, and he was shot down. And here he's talking about chickens and how would we do chickens if somebody comes and wants chickens? I'm like, well, funny you mentioned that. so this young man though did go before the Ellington Town Board.
And he gave a speech to the town board, and they said, "Thank you, good night." But anyway, so we had the Cub Scout troop along with their parents sit here and go through that, and then brought them to the police department, and Andrew took them patiently through a tour of the police department and evidence room and everything, and we even had their mug shots taken with the numbers in the lineup. So anyways, it was really cute, and I got this email from the troop leader. "Thank you so much. That was the perfect den field trip. You kept the boys engaged and helped them understand more about how local government works. Parents commented that they appreciated that there was a good mix of fun and education. You exceeded expectations. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Jared."
I think they actually got 2 badges that night because they weren't expecting the PD tour.
Yeah.
So I think they got 2 badges. It was like Two-badge deal.
Yep, and hopefully Andrew wasn't so scared off that he chooses to never have children. It was challenging, but anyways, so I just thought there were two good instances of some good community collaboration, so just wanted to share that.
Yeah.
And then one last thing that I didn't have on there, but last week, or last board meeting, Carl had provided some information on that, some of the electrical work that we were looking at doing for Otto Miller Park, potentially with the reserve fund. That's actually subject of the front page of the Press Star, today's.
Really?
But anyways, Carl and I spoke more after this meeting, is that we're going to wrap that, and also we're going to go for a big kahuna with the state farm grant. Hopefully we get it in before the fire district gets theirs in. But anyways, it's if we get everything, the dream of what we would like to have for that Otto Miller Park, including lighting and the electrical and everything, it would be about $75,000. We were talking about just the electrical with the reserve fund, but what we're proposing to do and going to submit this grant before the end of this month is when it's due. There is no cap on it, and Dan Gassner had told me that he's already been the distributor of a grant for that was $100,000. So the total big kahuna would be 75. So we thought, why not? We're going to put in the grant request for that amount of the dream that we could do for it. And we'll mention in there that we have, we'll use what we have in our reserve of the 22 that we were thinking of for the electrical, that we'll use that kind of as leverage, saying that we're asking for all of this, but we have 22 that we could put towards it to see if, instead of just paying 22 for electrical, we pay 22 and get, the other 55. So we're going to put in the grant request. There is not a match requirement. We just thought that maybe by putting in there that we've got this reserve account that we would put towards it, that it might give us a little more leverage and possibilities. So, hey, dream big.
Yeah.
So that grant application is due at the end of the month, so Kyle and the other public works guys, Jesse and I, will be working on that. And we'll make sure that we get it in before Jackson, and we'll make it look pretty.
Yeah, because ours is 140, so.
Oh!
That's for air bags.
Yeah.
That's kind of important too.
That's all I have.
And you're too late, it's already in.
He told me that he's been the one to physically deliver the check to several schools in this area, and that he's done it on multiple times, and it's been over 100. So it's worth a try. That's all I have. Wait, no, just kidding.
Treasurer?
I've been thinking about the cards, but Diane had that one handled, and the rest of mine next time.
Then we'll move on to Director of Public Works.
All right, the first one is Wild Wind. I didn't get out there today, I was at a training class, but I believe all the roads have been installed. They passed the proof rolling, that's where you roll the dump trucks on the grade and do all that. The lots are just about finalized as far as the final grade. So before we allow them to have building permits, we'll want to make sure everything meets the master grading plan. So
and they pay the park fees.
And they pay the park fees. So yeah, they're moving right along. The system, the water system out there has been pressure tested. That passed. The first back tee passed, so I should be getting the results today or tomorrow for the second follow-up back tee. So yeah, everything's going along pretty smoothly. They're making quite a bit of progress. So
How many lots in this first phase?
30.
What's the park fee per lot?
500?
500, and they get paid with the building permits. They won't be paid up front.
That's what I thought. Okay.
So yeah, they're moving right along. It's looking good. Utility project update. The Pine Street water main installation has been completed. We're going to be pressure testing that tomorrow, and and doing the first back tee and then follow-up back tee on Monday, and then we should bring that back online probably Tuesday of next week. They've started on the sewer main down by Cherry Street and Cedar. Probably got about 20% of that done. So yeah, they're moving right along. It's looking pretty good. So far, I don't foresee any significant change orders, or we did have to move one. I have to pay for a few fittings for moving a lateral down by the corner of Sorensen's. Again, it's an area that's notorious for stuff in the ground. There's a sanitary lateral that comes all the way from the top of the hill down to Pine Street. So anyways, we had to shift that over. So there was a couple sticks of pipe and a few $100s worth of change order there. So next week we're going to be routing and crack filling Crystal Springs subdivision. That's something I'm going to try and do every year, is contract that out and do every subdivision, try to maintain the roads we do have. And Memorial Square, there was some production errors in the capstones. So not only did I have to wait 5 months to get them in, when I got them in there, one was wrong and one was missed. So, and I'm still waiting on contractors to do my concrete work. Monday's about, it's getting pretty late in the year, and contractors have been no friend of mine. So, that's all I have.
If there's any cancellation, that's everywhere.
Everybody's so busy.
Everybody's backed up.
There's companies, I noticed out in the industrial park, there's companies coming from almost Madison to do concrete work. So it's bad. So.
Anyone else have anything for Carl? Police Department.
Nothing.
I'd note that the confirmation of the sheriff's sale hearing on the Schilling property is not until November 22. So there really won't be a responsible owner in place till then. But it's coming.
And I forgot, just a reminder, Tuesday is the final interview with our chief of police candidate, and the background check has commenced. They've started it locally for now, so.
6 or 6:15?
I believe it's 6. And actually, Carl, I'll need the equipment for that, because we've asked him for a presentation, so he may have.
Oh, that?
Yeah, he may. I'm guessing he's going to be using that.
Presentation of accounts and other claims against the village.
The voucher list consists of deposit of payroll contributions, payment of loans, and vouchers number 24054 through 24127 in the amount of $270,216.71. Direct deposit payroll in the amount of $29,391.59. And water and sewer utility vouchers number 10182 through 10188 in the amount of $9,991.11.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second that.
Roll call.
Aye.
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 Approved. Communication and miscellaneous business. Hearing none, we have no citizens, so then adjournment.
I'll make a motion.
Oh, there you go.
All in favor, say aye. I wasn't holding like that. Adjourned. You get